Welcome back to the battlefield. One boy, three girls, zero clue. The stage, a perfectly ordinary high school. The players, an idol who's been by his side the longest, an ex-fiancee who still has a key to his apartment, and a bold transfer student who confessed on day one without blinking. Together, they form what historians, or at least the narrator, will one day call the Great Heroine War. The rules are simple: win his heart, lose nothing else, and try not to combust in the process. Now, who will claim the throne? The war has already begun. It starts, as many disasters do, with a simple invitation. On a quiet afternoon at school, a classmate bounds up to Evan with a grin and an idea. Karaoke. Hey, Quinn, why not? Some of the girls are coming too. Evan blinks. The very suggestion seems to short-circuit his usually composed expression. He glances around as if checking whether he's being pranked. From the corner of the room, a pair of friends observe the scene with the enthusiasm of sports commentators watching a fumble. They're not wrong. Watching Evan attempt to handle social situations is, genuinely, a spectator sport. "Look at him," one mutters, "trying to figure out what's happening. He's the male lead and he has absolutely no idea what he's doing." Evan, meanwhile, processes the karaoke invite at his own leisurely pace and ultimately looks more confused than enthused. Before he can decide anything, "Hey, Confronting, let's go!" A voice cuts through the hallway noise like sunshine through a window. Evan turns. Standing there is Arya, cheerful, bright-eyed, with blonde hair and a smile that takes up most of her face. She waves at him like they just picked up mid-conversation despite not having seen each other in months. Contender number one has entered the arena. "Yu Ying, long time no see." "Right? It's been forever. I haven't even come to school properly because of Dad's work. We ended up going abroad for a while." "Abroad?" Evan's eyes go wide. "Seriously? That's incredible." Arya laughs and waves it off with easy modesty. Her father, she explains, is in design. There was an opportunity, so they went. It wasn't as dramatic as it sounds. Then she brightens and produces a small gift from her bag, pressing it into his hands with the casual warmth of someone who thinks of people even from the other side of the world. "Oh, and there's a small test coming up," she adds cheerfully. "Don't worry, I've looked at the material. It's not hard." She says it with the breezy confidence of someone who has never truly struggled with a test in her life and probably never will. Arya is that rare creature. A model, a school idol, a fashion presence, and somehow also an excellent student. The other students murmur in admiration as she passes. She communicates effortlessly with everyone, manages her schedule without complaint, and still finds time to think about the people she cares about. No wonder the poll numbers don't lie. But the narrator notes, without judgment, having the lead in the polls does not mean having the lead in the war. Not long after, a mutual friend spots Arya through a classroom doorway and stops. Arya is still inside, seated beside Evan, walking him through study material with patient, careful attention. Her pen traces the page. Evan watches, actually focused for once, taking in every word. "She's still in there? Holding a whole study session?" The friend sighs. "Yu Ying, you're too gentle." And then louder, aimed at the boy sitting across from her. "Hey, Confronting, stop making Yu Ying do everything for you." With that, she disappears, leaving the two of them alone. Evan sits up, at least slightly ashamed. He glances at Arya. "I'm sorry. Really?" Arya shakes her head, not annoyed, just earnest. "What if we study together properly next time? Work through it at the same pace?" Evan stares at her. The guilt is visible on his face. He isn't used to people being this effortlessly kind about things. "Yu Ying." He starts, then stops. She looks up. "You're incredible," he says, simply, plainly. Not as flattery, just as observation. Arya freezes, just for a moment. Something flickers across her expression that she immediately tries to rearrange. "But please, teach me to study. That's all." Evan, completely unaware of the minor disaster he just caused, nods and returns to the textbook. The study session winds down, and Evan admits he has work, a part-time job he has to get to. Arya watches him pack up. The concern that crosses her face is quiet, instinctive. Hey Confronting, don't push yourself so hard, okay? You can get better grades. I know you can. Evan pauses at the door and turns back with a small smile. Easy, unguarded. Seeing you work hard actually makes it easier. He leaves. Arya doesn't move for a moment. Then her hand reaches out and grabs the sleeve of her own uniform, like she needs something to hold on to. Don't tell anyone, she whispers to the empty room. Then louder, to no one. I'm the only one who sees how hard he actually is on himself. Then she sits down in the empty classroom, picks up her notebook, and lets out a single, very contained, very dignified scream. She is extremely happy. She has convinced herself, successfully, that this means something. She hesitates. She's never dated a boy before. The thought alone makes her palms sweat. What if it becomes awkward? What if their whole friendship shifts into something uncomfortable? But, the narrator clears its throat. The skies above this battlefield are not as clear as contender number 1 believes, because half a year is enough time for many things to happen. And the situation is about to become significantly less simple. Cut to the school stadium. Sports day is approaching. An announcement is being made. And the figure at the front of the gathered crowd is not someone anyone forgets easily. White hair. Precise posture. An expression so carefully composed that it might have been sculpted. I am Bianca, Student Council President. As you know, we'll be holding our annual sports day. The crowd reacts on cue. Not to the words, but to her. Whispers ripple outward. Bianca finishes her address. Her voice doesn't waver. Her composure doesn't flicker. She steps down from the stage with the exact measured calm she arrived with. And then, only for a second, she glances toward Evan. And smiles. It's small. It's private. She probably thinks no one saw it. Evan, looking back at her, goes slightly pink around the ears and looks away. That evening, Evan's apartment. He unlocks the door and stops. There are extra shoes in the entryway, and from inside, the sound of movement, the smell of something warm and cooked. Welcome home, Hwan-jun. You've worked hard. Bianca steps into the hallway holding a dish towel, composed as ever. Come eat. This is, the narrator notes, not an unusual occurrence. Bianca has a spare key. She uses it. She comes over and cooks. She has, in her own careful internal logic, framed this as the wife strategy, specifically. She was, after all, nearly his wife. The marriage contract between their families was arranged when they were younger and only dissolved after Evan's status as company heir was reassigned to his sister. But Bianca has not dissolved anything internally. The table is set. The food is couple-coded in an extremely specific way that Evan does not appear to notice. He sits down and looks at the spread. We really didn't end up getting married, did we? He says, to himself probably, with something that might be nostalgia or might be confusion. Bianca, from across the kitchen, says nothing, but her expression does a very small, very private thing. Evan, gamely, opens his arms. I'm back, by June. Don't! She cuts him off. Not cold, just displeased. He adjusts. Baya, sis? I'm in high school. Her expression goes flat. Hwan-jun, I've always thought of you as my good brother. The word lands in the room like a small, controlled explosion. Evan accepts this and sits. The atmosphere between them is interesting, slightly pressurized. They've spent years carefully avoiding the subject of what they were almost to each other, and every visit to this apartment presses gently against that careful avoidance. Thanks for cooking, he offers. You didn't have to. I just happened to have time. She sits across from him. Besides, a sister wants to take care of her brother. Evan takes a bite. World's number 1, he says, simply. 10,000 points of damage. Direct hit. Bianca's mouth goes into a shape that is not quite a smile and not quite a pout. She stands up, announces that she said she would do this every day and today's meal already counts for enough, and walks briskly out of the room. Evan watches her go, mildly helpless. Alone in the hallway, Bianca leans against the wall. In her chest, a feeling she considers, privately, to be a complete success. She thinks of the years behind them, the way he never treated her as a company alliance, always as a person. She thinks of her plan, patient and architectural. Use the ex-wife position, establish domestic presence, outlast the competition. She straightens, reclaims her composure, and heads to the door. The next afternoon brings a different kind of chaos. Evan is heading toward the literature club room when voices reach him from down the corridor. Don't get close to Xiaoqi. He rounds the corner and finds a scene. Theo, gentle, sweet-faced, the club's resident gentle soul, standing slightly behind Lily, who has planted herself between Theo and a kneeling Zach, like a very small, very furious wall. Zach looks up at Evan with the desperate eyes of a man who has run out of options. Evan surveys the situation. "That's your problem," he says, and moves to step past. Lily spins on him. "And what are doing in the second-year corridor?" Theo and Lily, the narrator explains, are first years, and among the most talked-about students in their grade. Theo is known for being unusually pretty and gentle, the kind of person who makes the hallway quieter just by walking through it. Lily is known for being the person who stands between Theo and the rest of the world, radiating warning signals in all directions. Why they joined Evan's literature club is a question no one has fully answered, including Lily. Today, they've come to ask about the club's activity schedule. "Just message me," Evan says. "I have time now. What do you need to know?" Theo brightens. "We wanted to ask about the book recommendation. You mentioned it last time. I actually went and bought it." Lily moves immediately. She steps in front of Evan, rounds on Theo, and says, flat and firm, "Stop staring at him." Evan opens his mouth. "The matter is settled," Lily announces. "Get up." She turns back to Evan with an expression that could strip paint. "You, big color demon. We're leaving." Evan stands in the hallway, baffled. "I just said I bought a book." Inside the literature club room, late afternoon light, quiet shelves, a small table. 3 original members, 2 unexpected additions. The club has, inexplicably, expanded. Theo reads seriously. Lily is notionally present, but has spent most of the session keeping a close eye on the distance between Theo and Evan. Zach, for his part, has not been reading. Evan notices Lily watching him and raises an eyebrow. "What?" she says, immediately defensive. "You look like you want to say something." "I don't." Theo looks up from his book, serene and observant. Lily's expression shifts, not softens exactly, but recalibrates. "Don't give me that look. You haven't read a single page this whole time. You've been playing games." Evan cannot dispute this. Theo adds, gently, warmly, and with the energy of someone who has calculated exactly what he is doing. "Senior, you're like a big sister to me." Evan's ears go red. Lily short-circuits. The room processes this. Evan looks around very carefully, trying to determine whether reality has shifted. He closes his book. "You're lying to me," Lily says, naturally and without hesitation. "Of course. I hate to reveal things like that." "You're not hiding it at all. You're saying it directly." She levels her gaze at him. Little devil energy, fully activated. Blake, the vice president, has been lounging at the side of the room through all of this, playing at the scene like it's entertainment, which it is. He finds all of it thoroughly amusing. Evan reaches a limit. He stands. He picks up the stool. He carries it directly in front of Lily and sits down, face to face, at her exact eye level. Lily's round face goes red. What's wrong with you? You're finally showing your true nature?" Evan looks at her steadily. "Yes," he says. "I am." As Evan has just moved his stool directly in front of Lily, sitting face to face, eye level, daring her to keep going. Lily's round face is bright red. Her voice climbs an entire octave. What's wrong with you? You're finally showing your true nature?" Evan holds her gaze, steady and unbothered. "Yes," he says. "I am." The stool maneuver does not resolve peacefully. Lily flings her book. It hits Evan square in the chest. She shouts something that would be unprintable in the club's minutes if anyone were taking them, then storms out of the room with the energy of someone who has been gravely wronged by the laws of physics. Evan watches the door swing shut. He looks down at the book on the floor. Then, he notices something. He picks it up. It's the same book he recommended. She bought it. She read the whole thing. She finished it specifically, so she would have something to say to him. The realization settles over him quietly. He goes to find her. Lily is in the corridor. Back to the wall. Composure in ruins. Evan appears, holds up the book, and says nothing for a moment. Just looks at her with an expression she cannot immediately categorize. "You finished it," he says, "so you could talk about it today." Lily opens her mouth. Closes it. The boy says, calm and a little gentle, "It's like a fateful reunion, isn't it? The book finding the right reader." She is, briefly, completely speechless. And then, very quietly, where no one can see, something in her chest does something she does not give it permission to do. Her nose stings. She blinks. Twice. Fast. Before the moment can develop into a full emotional incident, someone else arrives. One of the other club members drifts over, takes one look at the situation, and announces cheerfully that the two of them look very much like a scene from a romance novel, specifically the part where the girl pretends she doesn't care and then obviously does. Lily recovers instantly. Full defense engaged. Evan, for his part, has already clocked something else. He looks at Lily with mild curiosity and says, quiet enough that only she catches it. Even if fate brought the book back around, the senior won't remember. But the way you treat this differently, it shows. Lily does not know what to do with this sentence. She files it under and walks away. Morning. School entrance. The three girls arrive at approximately the same time, from approximately the same direction, and immediately become very aware of each other. Arya spots Evan first. "Oh, Quann's over there." Quinn is already in motion. Bianca's expression does not change. She simply recalibrates. Today, Quinn has decided, is the day she says good morning. That's it. Simple, clean. First contact, properly executed. Whoever reaches him first establishes a presence, and presence is everything in this particular war. She goes, and simultaneously, Arya goes. And Bianca, who would not be seen running under any circumstances, walks with such precise and deliberate speed that she arrives within seconds of the other two. Three girls, one staircase landing, one thoroughly unsuspecting boy. "Good morning, Mr. Hejuan King. Good morning, Quan. Good morning." Three voices, one breath apart. Evan looks up. He looks at all three of them. "Good morning," he says, pleasantly, to all of them at once, and then moves to head to class. The three girls look at each other. None of them is prepared to let a shared greeting count as a resolution. The battle has barely started. No one has made a decisive move. No one has won anything, and none of them is going to let anyone else win first. Quinn arrives in the city alone, hauling luggage that is approximately twice her body weight. She is tired, slightly overwhelmed, and already composing internal complaints about the sheer volume of things she decided to bring. The school is larger than she imagined. She doesn't know anyone. She has no reference points, no guide, no one to ask. This is, the narrator acknowledges, a fairly reasonable moment to feel lost. Then she hears footsteps behind her. "You look like you need help, do you?" She turns. There is a boy standing there, her age, carrying himself easily, looking at her luggage with the expression of someone who has already decided he's going to do something about it. Quinn stares. She thinks. She keeps staring. He waits. She realizes she hasn't responded. Sorry, yes. I think. He steps forward and takes the heaviest bag from her without ceremony. "Girls shouldn't carry things this heavy," he says, which is bossy in a way that she finds, against her better judgment, completely disarming. "What's going on?" She explains. "First day at school. Transfer process. Here to pick up textbooks, but her father got called away and couldn't drive. She doesn't know where anything is." He listens. Then he picks up his phone. "Hello? There's a transfer student here." A brief description. A pause. He hangs up. The books will be sent to your classroom directly. Which class? She tells him. His eyebrows go up slightly. Same grade. Your classroom is next to mine. He leads her through the school, hallways, turns, shortcut through a corridor she wouldn't have found. Quinn follows, processing the fact that a complete stranger has just solved 3 of her problems in under 4 minutes. Then she notices it. The phone charm hanging from his bag. She stops walking. That charm. He looks down. Then he takes his phone out. She already has hers out too. Same charm. Same style. Identical. Quinn makes a noise that is not quite a word. The narrator notes, this is statistically unlikely. It is also exactly the kind of thing that rewires a person's understanding of a morning. Evan looks between the 2 charms. He smiles. Easy, unperformed. Quinn says, collecting herself, I liked it. Someone important gave it to me. My friends always said it was embarrassing, but I keep it anyway. She says this honestly, without thinking. Then she registers what she said and who she said it to. Thank you, she adds, to fill the space, though she is not entirely sure what she is thanking him for. She is happy. She does not know why. Her heart has started doing something she did not authorize. Quinn thinks. The narrator has no comment. The narrator is simply watching. Back in the present, fallout. It turns out that Evan helping the new transfer student carry luggage and then walking her to her classroom was witnessed. Word spread. Zach, who happened to catch a glimpse of the scene, told the wrong people, who told more people, and by the time Evan made it to his next class, the rumor had evolved considerably beyond what actually happened. Evan finds Arya and vents, mildly exasperated. Apparently, because someone confessed to me, the whole school is treating it like a major incident. Everyone's reaction is too big. Arya looks at him. She is very carefully doing something with her face. You're right, she says. Their reaction is too big. A pause. Are you in a bad mood? He asks. No. Immediately. I'm in a great mood. Excellent mood. He studies her. You look like you're in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. He tilts his head. Arya. You look like you're actually happy about this. She looks away. Quan King, you always look like you don't want to be bothered. But actually, you're happy, aren't you? This is not an answer to his question. She knows this. She is banking on him not noticing. He does not notice. I'm just confused, he says. I helped her carry some things. We walked to her classroom. She said she liked me. I didn't say yes. Arya blinks. Something reconfigures in her expression. Wait. You mentioned something that day, she says carefully. Something about a mysterious cat. Mia? Evan goes slightly blank. I said something like that. I don't think I meant, okay, she says, cutting him off. Okay, I don't care who you're dating. Go talk to your cute transfer student. She's not. She's cute. That doesn't mean Go. Evan looks at her, helpless. He goes. Arya sits with this information. She turns it over carefully. He came back and told her first. He specifically came to her. Quan King, who has been single for as long as she's known him, encountered a cute transfer student who confessed, and his first instinct was to find Arya and tell her about it. She stands up. She has reached a conclusion. The conclusion is fully constructed, internally consistent, and extremely convenient. She is in a spectacular mood. The spectacular mood does not survive contact with Quinn. Evan and Arya are studying together when Quinn appears beside them, bright-eyed and unannounced. Hey Jun, can I join? Arya's expression does not move. Her eyes do something very precise. It's full here, she says. Can't you see? Oh, sorry. Quinn starts to step back. Then she looks at Arya properly for the first time and grabs her hand. Wait, are you the model Yu Ying? I've seen your pictures. You're even better in person. You're so pretty. I'm so jealous. Arya, who was prepared to be cold, has her defenses entirely disassembled by a genuine compliment delivered at close range with zero strategic calculation. Her proud affection surfaces before she can stop it. Well, yes, it is me. Quinn beams, then turns back to the table. Are you two studying? Can I join? I'm not very good at this. It's Yu Ying teaching me, Evan says. Yu Ying is so smart, so pretty, Quinn announces, delighted. Arya sits down. She is going to deal with this. No, she says to the question of Quinn joining. You can't join. This is a very specific study group. The material isn't suitable. What material? Very specific material. Quinn considers this. Okay, I won't join then. She smiles and walks away. Evan stares at Arya. What was that? It would have gotten complicated. Arya, what is going on with you today? She puts her pen down, turns to face him with the focused energy of someone who has decided to take control of a situation. King, who do you like? Evan blinks. No one, he says. I don't like anyone right now. That's why I told Quinn I couldn't date her. The air goes out of the room. Arya sits very still. She reconstructs the last 30 minutes in her head. All the evidence, all the conclusions she drew. All of it begins to quietly dissolve. She picks up her pen, puts it down, picks it up again. Quinn, meanwhile, has not left. She has simply relocated to an adjacent chair and is now asking Evan for help with a specific problem, moving her chair closer in the process. Jun, can you explain this part? Sure, you just rearrange it here. You're right. Yu Ying, isn't he amazing? Arya is staring at her notebook. The idol, the top student, the girl who has known Evan the longest, is staring at her notebook with the blank expression of someone whose entire theory has just collapsed under the weight of 4 words. The narrator watches. Arya is staring at her notebook, her theory in ruins, while Quinn has settled in next to Evan and is asking him for help with a problem. Arya stares at her notebook with the blank expression of someone recalculating everything. Quinn beams at the answer Evan just gave her. You're so good at this, right, Yu Ying? Arya does not immediately respond. The idol, the top student, the girl who has known him longest is somewhere else entirely. Then Evan glances over and stops. He can see Arya's handwriting on the practice questions she set aside. He looks more carefully. The problems she wrote are significantly harder than the ones she claimed not to understand. He blinks. He looks at her. She meets his eyes and gives a small, composed nod. So that's what's happening. She already knows the material. She has known it the whole time. She's been sitting here pretending otherwise. Not to deceive him exactly, but because this is the only reason she could construct to stay beside him a little longer. He processes this. He does not say it out loud. He simply knows. He almost laughs. He doesn't. He feels something closer to sympathy. Then Quinn holds out her notebook and says, Jun, you wrote it wrong here. And suddenly they are writing side by side, hand near hand, and the atmosphere shifts without anyone deciding it should. Arya watches Quinn gently tap the back of Evan's hand. Watches her say, thoughtfully, that his fingers are quite long. Cute, even. Both of them snap back at once. Evan says, "That's it, see you next time," and is out of his chair and through the door before anyone can respond. Downstairs he slows down, breathes. He's still processing when footsteps catch up behind him. Jun. Quinn, utterly unbothered. She falls into step beside him like she was always planning to walk this direction. "Can I go home with you? Same direction, right?" He looks at her sidelong, sighs, nods. They walk. She's quiet for a few seconds, which for Quinn is notable. Then she says easily, "I noticed Yu Ying isn't great at studying." Evan glances at her. "Yeah, but she never skips it." "Her father," Evan says after a pause. "He has high expectations. She's working hard to be the version of herself he pictures." He hesitates. "If you can keep that between us, I'd appreciate it." Quinn is quiet for a moment. Then, "I understand." A beat. "But she must be pretty interesting, actually." That wasn't the comforting response I was hoping for. She doesn't apologize. She just walks a little closer until she's at his shoulder and tilts her head up toward his ear. "I'll keep quiet," she says, "but I won't just leave it." He turns to look at her. She rises slightly on her toes. Her voice drops. "I will definitely make you fall in love with me. I will never just keep silent. Evan goes red to the ears and does not say a single word for the rest of the walk home. Lunchtime. Evan is looking for somewhere to eat in peace. He does not find it. Quinn materializes beside him with the specific reliability of someone who has figured out his patterns. "Why can you always find me?" he asks, genuinely baffled. She tilts her head. "You don't have a lunchbox today either?" No, something came up. "My mom makes mine." She holds it up. "So I always have one. This must be the first time Bianca's prepared lunch for you and you didn't get it?" He doesn't answer that. She sits down across from him with the ease of someone who has decided this is simply where she eats now. "By the way," she adds, "all the boys say you're the pure and cute type. Did you know that?" He stares at her. "They said that about you." "It's embarrassing," she grins. "Haha. Don't laugh like that." "Why?" "Because you're not. You're—" He stops himself. Too late. "I'm what?" "You look like a pure and lovely girl," he says, cornered. "But in my eyes, you're already the little devil." Quinn puts down her chopsticks, looks at him with an expression of complete theatrical offense. "Excuse me, am I such an unreasonable girl? Did I say something wrong?" She pauses. Then she smiles. Not the bright public smile, but the smaller, warmer one. "Say all the mistakes you want. I'm very unreasonable, because whether it's on the outside or inside, I deeply love Hee Kwan-jun." He stares. She stares back, completely composed. "I'm such a lucky man," he says, reflexively, because his brain has temporarily disconnected from his mouth. Her face goes pink. He catches himself, laughs, sudden and a little chaotic. "I got you," he says. "I caught you blushing. Damn it. Oh, what a coincidence." A voice from behind them, pleasant, controlled, carrying the particular weight of someone who planned this coincidence down to the minute. Bianca stands there with a lunchbox in hand, looking between the two of them with an expression of perfect composure. "I didn't expect to run into you, Hee Kwan-king." Quinn looks up. The two girls make eye contact. Something passes between them, not hostile exactly, more like two weather systems recognizing each other. Quinn stands. "Let's all eat together." Bianca takes the seat beside Evan before anyone else can suggest otherwise. She places the lunchbox on the table. "You forgot this morning," she says. "I made it for you." The narrator notes, the plan: arrive at lunch, produce the home-cooked meal, demonstrate domestic proximity in front of the competition, show the gap, make the point without making the point. Bianca lifts the jade spoon, and then stops. She holds it there, the spoon poised. The move intended, and her entire face fights a war between strategy and public image in approximately 3 seconds. Because Bianca is many things. She is the student council president. She comes from a family with a name that carries weight in every room it enters. Her public image is not an afterthought. It is a structure she has maintained for years, and it matters not just to her vanity, but to the enterprise that her family represents. And feeding a boy at a lunch table in front of witnesses is, her mind runs through it rapidly, potentially career-limiting. In her head, the image of herself standing at the peak, the responsibility, the succession, the eyes of the school on the student council president caught spoon-feeding her former fiancé like something out of a drama. She cannot do it. She sits very still with the spoon in the air. Evan looks at her. "What are you doing?" Then Quinn leans in. "Senior, he's just too shy to open up. Here." She reaches over, lifts a piece of food from Bianca's lunchbox with her own chopsticks, and puts it directly in Evan's mouth. The table goes quiet. Evan chews, swallows. Quinn asks brightly, "How is it?" "Delicious," he says, "but that was very sudden." "As long as you like it." Quinn sits back down, deeply satisfied. "I made that one myself." Bianca watches this with an expression she is working extremely hard to keep flat. She stands quietly, excuses herself, and walks away from the table before her composure has a chance to do anything more publicly interesting. Around a corner, out of sight, she straightens, squares her shoulders. She is already constructing the next move. Blake, the vice president, finds her seconds later. "What are you doing? I've been looking for you." She looks at him, looks back at the direction she came from, pulls herself together. "I'm going to bring someone to the club today," she announces. He stares. "Why?" "So no one is derailed by my failure just now." He opens his mouth, closes it, understands. Meanwhile, the narrator checks in on the third contender. Lily, watching from a distance, has already catalogued the entire lunch incident and reached several conclusions she will not be sharing with anyone. On the way home, Evan walks alone for approximately 30 seconds before Quinn appears. She taps him on the back of the shoulder. "Kwon-jun, I'm here again." He stops walking, looks at her, considers the geometry of his life. "You are an agent of chaos," he says. She looks delighted. "Your reaction just now was like a bug landing on you. So cute." "Please stop." She matches his pace, easy and unbothered. "Since I transferred here, my school life has been very accurately disrupted, starting from the day I confessed." "You disrupted your own school life." "By the way," she says, ignoring this, "you're going to the literature club, right? I'm looking forward to it." "You know about the club. Theo mentioned he was going today. I thought it sounded nice." She glances at him sideways. "Kwon-jun's club. I've been curious." Evan sighs. He already has Theo. And Lily. He does not know what adding Quinn to that particular ecosystem will produce, but instinct suggests nothing calm. "What department are you in?" he asks, changing tack. "Justice Department." She shrugs. "Training was cancelled today, so I'm free." He nods, slow. They arrive at the literature club room. Lily is already standing outside the door. She looks at Quinn. Quinn looks back. Lily's expression shifts through approximately 4 stages before settling on cold refusal. "Can I ask an outsider to leave?" she says to Evan. Evan takes this in. Lily is by nature quiet and selective. She guards the club the same way she guards Theo. Instinctively, watchfully, without full explanation. He can guess at the logic even if she won't say it, he thinks. "Lily." But Theo appears in the doorway. He looks at Lily. He looks at Quinn. He smiles with the gentle, deliberate warmth of someone who knows exactly what he is doing. "Welcome," he says. "Guests are always welcome here. Please don't worry about the big cat." Lily turns to him. "Zhaoki, what are you planning?" Theo tilts his head. "I don't want to hurt you, Lily, but from where I'm standing, you've already lost this round." A pause, serene and unhurried. "Because you're always so quiet. Haven't you read enough comics to know the rules?" Lily opens her mouth, closes it. Theo steps back to let Quinn in. Evan, meanwhile, is managing the aftermath. He turns to Quinn. "Don't read too much into her. Lily's actually a good person." Quinn nods. "I figured. She's just very dedicated." They settle into the small space. It is crowded. It is warm. It is several kinds of tension layered over one another like geological strata. Then Quinn looks up and says brightly, "Let's go on a date." Lily's head comes up. Evan stares. "How did you get from here to that?" "I'm new to the city." She shrugs. "Is there a handsome local who can show me around?" She catches his expression. "It's not a date, it's just the city. Sightseeing. A walk." Lily, very quietly. "Senior, if you want to take girls on outings, please do it somewhere other than the club." She says it with authority. She says it with composure. Then she adds under her breath, getting quieter with every word. "Although, so many people going on a date or something. He's really bold. I said it wasn't. I'm not." Her voice trails off into nothing. Theo watches her. He does not say anything. He just watches, quiet and knowing, and does not put his phone away. Lily's voice has trailed off into nothing. Theo watches her, phone in hand, serene and saying nothing. Theo does not put his phone away. He simply watches Lily's voice get smaller and smaller until it disappears entirely, and then he smiles. The quiet smile of someone who has already understood everything and is simply waiting for everyone else to catch up. "So, you two are dating?" The question comes from Theo, delivered with the innocent curiosity of someone who is absolutely not innocent about this. He holds up his phone. He has been recording. Evan looks at the phone, looks at Theo. We just met. Quinn brightens immediately. Then Evan adds without thinking, and at this point, I didn't want to date anyone. Quinn's expression does its characteristic drop and recover, the bright surface reassembling over something softer underneath. Theo notes this, files it away, glances at Lily. Lily, who has been watching the entire exchange with the focused attention of someone conducting a structural assessment, processes the words and quietly revises her internal threat calculation. Theo thinks. He returns to his seat looking like someone who has just finished a very satisfying chapter. Evan looks around at all of them. He thinks. He does not say this out loud. He says, "Let's start the club activity." They settle. Evan begins reading aloud. Quinn leans in. "You're too fast, Hee Kwan-jun." "Sorry, first time here. I don't know how to keep up the rhythm yet." Lily stiffens. The closeness, the easy familiarity. She grips her own book and says nothing, which costs her something. Quinn, adjusting, shuffles her chair slightly closer so she can follow the page. Lily tracks this movement with the precision of a radar system. "What kind of club activity is this?" she says flatly. "And is it really necessary to sit that close?" "Lily." Evan doesn't look up. "Quiet. Why do they have to read the same book?" "Lily. I'm not saying anything, I'm just..." She stops, exhales. "I'm sorry. I won't make a sound. I'll just give the Hekwon army a signal if necessary." Evan. "Why do I need a signal system?" Lily. Opens her book. Says nothing. The subject is closed. A short silence falls over the clubroom. Then Evan feels something on his leg. He looks down. There is a small stuffed sloth attached to Quinn's bag, and it has somehow migrated to rest against his thigh. As he watches, Quinn, eyes still on her book, reaches over and begins, absently, rhythmically, kneading it against his leg. He stares at this for a moment. Lily looks over, looks down. Her expression does something complicated. "Xiaoqi," she says. "What are they doing?" Theo looks up, considers the scene with genuine scholarly interest. "I also want to know." Quinn, without looking up, says quietly, "Hee Kwan-jun, look up and turn the page. I've been giving you signals." "What kind of signal is a sloth kneading my leg?" Lily stands up. She has reached a limit. She opens the clubroom door and steps into the hallway, and there she simply stands, facing the wall and the open corridor and whatever is on the other side of all of this. "What is this club?" Her voice comes out very steady. "What does this mean?" She turns around. She is deeply upset in a way she is controlling with great precision. "Even if I'm secretly reading the same book, you can't just lean over and watch it. That's cheating." She comes back in and sits down next to Evan with the decisiveness of someone who is committed to a strategy she refuses to examine. "I want to watch it too," she announces. Evan looks at her, then at Quinn, then at Theo, who has his phone raised. "What are you doing?" "The scene is very interesting," Theo says mildly. "I want to record it. Put the phone down." He does not put the phone down. Lily, now seated on Evan's other side, points at the book. "Senior, open it. In FPS games, even hesitating 1 second means failure. Do you understand? What does an FPS game have to do with a literature club? Open the book." He opens the book. The silence that follows is extremely loud. Then Lily says, too fast before she can stop herself, "Why can only you two be so intimate? I want to... She stops. The room stops with her. She registers what she just said. She sits very still. But Evan has already turned to look at her, close, genuinely concerned, not strategic, not teasing. "Lily, are you okay? You seem off. Is your body feeling all right?" The distance between them is approximately 12 centimeters. Lily's entire system shuts down. She tilts sideways, slowly, and comes to rest against Theo's shoulder with the boneless finality of someone whose structural integrity has simply given out. "It's nothing serious," Theo says kindly, patting her head. After a long moment, "I can't do this anymore," Lily says. "I want to go home." She stands. She leaves. The club activity is, effectively, over. In the doorway, Quinn pauses. Evan says, behind her, "You're quite popular around here." She turns. "Who? Me?" "The one who always has spring." She grins. "Oh? You're looking forward to it?" He sighs. "I'm saying Lily, specifically, might have—" "Xiao Chun should be honest," Quinn says, to no one in particular. And then lighter. "But honestly, if you take me out this weekend, they'll all follow. You know that, right?" "I do know that. Even if you know, I'm still coming." Then, from down the corridor, two voices arrive at once. "Hey, you two." Arya and Bianca. Together. Looking at the two of them with the combined energy of a search party that has successfully located its target. "You said something about a date," Arya says. "Explain." The narrator notes, "Weekend, city center." Quinn arrives in a silk dress, slightly breathless, apologizing before she's fully stopped moving. "I'm sorry. The city is so crowded. It took longer than expected." She looks flustered in a way she almost never is. A small anxiety lives in her face that Evan isn't used to seeing. He looks at her. "It's only 10 o'clock, he says. "You didn't keep me waiting." She exhales, then carefully. "I'm sorry. The crowds were—" I got a little panicked." He watches her settle. Then he says, quietly, before he's decided to, "You always come and catch me off guard. Today I'm taking the initiative." A beat. "You didn't make me wait. You just wanted to see me." She blinks. She thought he'd deflect. He didn't. "Yes," she says, "because there's no use pretending. I just wanted to see you." She smooths her dress. "How is it? Does it look good?" "You're wearing new clothes," he says. "You came to see me in new clothes." "I happen to wear it." He smiles. "You came to see me." He reaches out and takes her hand. A light, natural, unhesitating hold, moving them forward into the crowd. "Okay, let's go. These streets are busy. If we get separated, it'll be a problem, especially for someone who panics in crowds." Her face goes pink. "Okay," she says. "I know." He walks forward. She follows, holding his hand, looking at the back of his head, quietly committing this to memory. Elsewhere, a careful distance behind them, four figures move through the street in a rough formation that would not fool anyone. Arya. Quan is... Where did they go? Bianca. Recalculating route. Theo. Looking around with peaceful interest. Lily. We have to keep up. If we lose them... Theo. We're not going to lose them, Lily. Lily. We might lose them. Arya sighs. I can't believe I'm doing this. I said I trusted Quan King. She pauses. But then a transfer student appeared and now we're following them. Bianca, walking with precise and dignified speed. As student council president, I have a responsibility to monitor whether student behavior aligns with school standards. Theo says nothing. He is taking in the city with the expression of someone thoroughly enjoying a day out. They reach the restaurant. They watch through the window as Evan and Quinn are seated. Evan orders curry. Hequanjin's curry looks delicious, Arya says mournfully. If I'd known, Bianca says, I would have ordered curry. Same. Can I have a taste of Hequanjin's curry? Inside, Quinn is saying the same thing to Evan directly, because Quinn has no internal filter between thought and speech. Evan stares at her. If you want it, order it yourself. But yours is already here and it smells better. It's the same curry. It's not the same. He looks at her. He accepts, with the resignation of someone who has learned there is no winning here, that he is going to feed this person. He loads the spoon. He moves it toward her. Then he looks up and catches her expression, open and soft and completely unguarded, and something in his chest does something he doesn't examine. He recovers. Don't move. She opens her mouth. He puts the spoon in. She tastes it. A long pause. Then, quietly, with genuine feeling, Hequanjin's curry is really delicious. It's the same curry, he says again to the table. She smiles. Okay, now I'll feed you. I don't need... The spoon has already touched my mouth. He stares at her. She waits, patient and completely shameless. He opens his mouth. Outside the window, 4 people observe this in silence. Theo is the first to speak. I think they probably both feel something. Lily absorbs this like a physical impact. She says nothing. Arya looks at the window. Something in her expression is working very hard. Bianca is very still. Theo continues gently, to no one in particular. I didn't expect the celebrities to be Lily's rivals, but compared to the transfer student, both of them still have ground to cover. He is smiling faintly. He finds this deeply, genuinely funny, in the way only someone with nothing personally at stake can. Eventually, the food cools and they decide to eat. The 4 of them settle at their own table nearby, close enough to observe, and conversation turns, unexpectedly, naturally, toward Evan. How did you meet him? Quinn asks Bianca. Bianca sets down her chopsticks. Middle school, our families arranged a marriage contract. 5 years. I knew him before any of this. A pause. When his heir status was transferred to his sister, the contract was cancelled. But that has nothing to do with how I feel. The table is quiet. Because I like him, she says simply. That's the reason. Is that not enough? Nobody argues. Lily looks at Bianca for a long moment. She did not expect this. She did not expect the student council president to be this direct, this undefended, when no one official was watching. Okay, Quinn says into the quiet. Then, Theo, how do you know him? Theo tilts his head. He glances at Lily. Lily answers for him, voice low. Junior school. We were cornered by someone. A scary situation. Kwon Jun came and tried to help, tried to defuse it. He was kind to us. She pauses. Fate would have ended it there, but I didn't want it to. Another pause. He doesn't remember me. He doesn't recognize me at all. The table sits with this. He'll remember, Quinn says. Not as comfort, exactly. More as fact. Kwon King, Arya says then, softer, when it's her turn. When I went abroad, he gave me a note, before I left. She almost laughs. It was so ordinary, just words, nothing dramatic. She looks at her hands. But nobody else would have done that, only him. The 3 of them sit across from each other in a restaurant while the boy they're all talking about is somewhere in the building, completely unaware. The conversation has stripped something away. The competition is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. But underneath it, right now, there is something else. Quinn looks at both of them. Don't you think we could be good friends? The 3 of us? A pause. Arya. I think so. Bianca. A small, real smile. Yes. They make a quiet promise. Whoever wins in the end, no one will be bitter. Because right now, in this moment, they are not enemies. They are 3 people who like the same person for real reasons. And that, strangely, is something they have in common. The narrator watches. The 3 girls have made their quiet promise. Whoever wins, no one will be bitter. But a promise between rivals cannot change one thing. There is still only one winner. They are still competitors. The date is still happening. And the anti-Quinn alliance is still out there, somewhere in the city, following at a distance with varying degrees of dignity. The afternoon continues. Evan and Quinn walk out of the restaurant into the open street, and Evan asks the obvious question. Where do you want to go next? Quinn considers this. For longer than expected. Her face does something that suggests genuine uncertainty. I don't know. Evan stares at her. You said you wanted me to show you the city. I assumed you had somewhere in mind. I did, but now I can't decide. He looks at her. Then he laughs. Not unkind, just disbelieving. So the whole plan was just an excuse to spend time with me. She doesn't deny it. She just looks at him with an expression that says, yes, obviously, was that not clear? You're not even embarrassed, he says. Why would I be? He sighs. He looks up at the street. He starts walking. Fine, let's just walk. Behind them, the alliance is suffering. My feet hurt, Arya announces quietly. We've been following them for 2 hours, Lily says. Where are they even going? Theo is looking at a nearby food stall with peaceful interest. He is the only one having a completely fine time. Bianca maintains her composure. We continue. They continue. What follows is, despite everything, a good afternoon. Evan takes Quinn to a game hall. They play. He is better than her at most things, and does not make a big deal of it. She is noisier than him about losing, and does not make a big deal of that either. They eat crepes from a street stall, standing on the pavement, and Quinn gets cream on her sleeve, and Evan hands her a napkin without comment. The Alliance attempts to follow them into the game hall and promptly loses them in the crowd. They regroup at the mall entrance, slightly frantic. They were right there, Lily says. We'll find them, Bianca says. Theo eats his crepe. Quinn and Evan walk through the mall at a pace that suggests neither of them has anywhere urgent to be. He Xuanjun, Quinn says. Can I ask you something? Is your family the Sterling group? He glances at her. Yes. It's not a secret. But you're not the heir anymore. My sister is. I'm just a regular person now. He says it without particular weight, not self-pity, just fact. Quinn is quiet for a moment. She thinks about her own family, her mother packing her lunch every morning, her father's phone calls from home, the ordinary smallness of the life she comes from. I heard this year's trend is light blue, Evan says, changing the subject. He's looking at a shop window. Quinn blinks. How do you know that? Arya told me. Something crosses her face. She notices it happening and cannot quite stop it. He Quanjun is the type, she says, who talks about other girls on dates. He looks caught. He looks at her face. He understands immediately that this was the wrong thing to say. Pick something, he says, by way of apology. You want to pick clothes for me? I'm trying to fix the last 30 seconds. Let me help. She laughs. Then she looks at the racks, looks back at him and says, You're really bad at this, you know? I know. He looks anyway. After a moment, he reaches out and touches the sleeve of something on the rack. Light fabric, simple cut, the kind of thing that doesn't try too hard. This one, he says. Quinn takes it and goes to the fitting room. Evan stands outside and waits. The mall hums around him. He finds himself thinking, accidentally, about the conversation earlier, about Sterling Group, about his father's expectations, about the life he was supposed to inherit and didn't. He hadn't meant to bring all that up. It slipped out. He wonders if Quinn noticed. Then her voice comes through the fitting room curtain. He Quanjun, are you there? Yes. Are you a little less shy now? I'm not shy. The curtain parts. She steps out. He looks at her. It suits you, he says. It's cute. She stares at him. A long pause. Then she reacts, face going pink, slightly chaotic, and retreats back behind the curtain. Thank you, she calls, muffled. He stands there. He is aware in some specific and uncomfortable way that he meant it. The walk home arrives before either of them is quite ready for it. Quinn is carrying bags. She looks at them with satisfaction. I bought a lot. You did. It was a good day. She glances at him sideways. Even if I didn't get to kiss you. He keeps walking. His ears go slightly red. She smiles and doesn't push it. Some moments are better left at the edge. The narrator notes, Bianca and Blake are walking back, mid-conversation. Arya is on the subway, going home. And then Arya sees it. Quinn, on the platform, standing still, looking at something, or thinking about something, with an expression Arya has not seen on her before. Quieter, more internal, and then Quinn begins walking, slowly with the focused intent of someone who has made a decision. Arya watches. Something falls from her hand. She doesn't notice. The scene stays in her mind long after the subway moves. The next day at school, Arya is off. Not dramatically, not visibly to most people, but the quality of her attention has shifted. She is present and not present simultaneously, in class, at lunch, in the hallway. A surface layer of her usual brightness, and underneath it, something working very hard. Jane notices first. She finds Evan in the corridor and pulls him aside without preamble. Hequan, come here. She walks him around a corner, checks that they're alone, and looks at him directly. Yu Ying has been strange since this morning. Something is wrong. And it's definitely because of you. I haven't done anything. That's the problem, Jane says, with the patience of someone explaining something for the second time. She saw something yesterday, on the subway platform. She won't say what. Evan tries to work backwards. The subway, yesterday. Quinn. If you have any idea what it might have been, Jane says, fix it. He nods. He is thinking. Then he hears, from somewhere nearby. He puts it together. He finds Arya. She is sitting at a desk in an empty classroom, not studying, just sitting. When he comes in, she looks up, and for a second her expression does something unguarded before she reassembles it. He Quanjin. Arya. He sits down across from her. Are you free Saturday? She blinks. There's an exhibition, he says. Or we could study somewhere. I thought, I'm free, she says immediately, then stops herself. She asks, more carefully, aren't you working Saturday? I have a shift. But after. She looks at him. Something in her chest does a very dangerous thing. So you're not... She stops. He waits. Do you like Quinn? She asks, straight out, quietly. He is still for a moment. Then, I honestly don't know yet. Like her or not, dating or not, I haven't figured it out. He pauses. But I said I'd respond to someone's feelings honestly, so I want to think about it properly. Arya absorbs this. Her eyes, despite her best efforts, go wet at the corners. She blinks hard. Okay, she says. Her voice is steady. I understand. Arya, my eyes just... There's probably dust. She stands up. Sorry, I'll go. I need to... She leaves. He sits in the empty classroom and stares at the door. Saturday. A studio, bright and professional. Arya is shooting. She is in front of the camera, the lights arranged just so, the photographer calling adjustments in a quiet voice. Normally, she is at ease in this room. It is one of the places she feels most like herself. Today, she is managing it. Her smile is present. Her posture is correct. The expression is a little stiff today, the photographer says, not unkindly. I know. She steps back. Sorry. Take a break. Go eat something. She nods and slips out. In the break room, she sits alone and looks at her phone and tries not to think about Saturday, about part-time work, about whether the person she's been friends with the longest is somewhere in the city right now with someone who's known him for 3 weeks. She looks at her reflection in the dark screen. She wants to smile. She doesn't know how to find the right one. The door opens. Quinn. Arya stares. Why are you here? I heard you'd be here. Quinn steps inside and closes the door. She sits down without being invited. Quanking really does have a part-time job today. He wasn't lying. Arya says nothing. I came to tell you, Quinn says, because you've been upset since yesterday and I think I know why. I'm not. You like him. Quinn says it simply, not as an accusation. I think everyone already knows, except maybe him. Arya goes very still. Really? She says after a long pause. Yes. Quinn leans back. I'm afraid Quanjun is the only one who hasn't noticed. Something between a laugh and a sob threatens to surface. Arya holds it back. He's so oblivious, Quinn says, shaking her head. He handles it all so politely, doesn't even notice the effect. She pauses. That's just who he is. That's your nature. You match it. You've been protecting that part of him for years. Arya looks at her. Quinn stands up. She crosses the room and sits down right next to Arya. Close, deliberate. What you saw on the platform yesterday, she says. That wasn't what it looked like. You were walking toward him. I was thinking. She's quiet for a moment. I'm not going to tell you I'm stepping back. I'm not. But you should know. He talks about you. He told me you've been working hard. He said you're the most hardworking person he knows. She looks at Arya directly. He said he wants to be someone who helps you. Has he ever said anything like that about anyone else? Arya's eyes go wet again. This time she doesn't bother blinking. He's always been like that, she whispers. I know, Quinn says. They sit in the break room together, rivals, quietly, in the strange, honest space that sits just underneath competition. Are you really willing to give up? Quinn asks. Arya doesn't answer. Quinn nods, as if the silence is answer enough. She stands up to leave, pauses at the door. I just wanted to say thank you for being the kind of person that someone like him ended up closest to. She almost smiles. It says something good about him. She goes. Arya sits alone. Outside the window, the city. Somewhere in it, Evan is finishing a shift, probably tired, probably thinking about something unrelated to any of this. She thinks. She looks at her reflection in the dark phone screen. This time, slowly, quietly, entirely for herself,